What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the CRWN Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we are breaking down
and literally just watched
Shutter Island. Marty, man. Bringing Marty back.
Leo, man.
And Leo. Is this our first Leo movie?
No. He did The Aviator. I think that was his first one.
No,
that
first
or
one
Gangs
on the
of New
episode,
York.
on the pod.
First Leo episode?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, no, I guess we did Killers with the Flower Moon.
Okay, so no.
Okay.
Damn,
But
that was
second only, though. That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. You just think about all the great movies like in our era.
That we love.
Yeah, that we love. Specifically, yeah, me and you. And we haven't touched a Leo movie as much as one would think.
And this is prime Leo.
Yeah, oh my God, 2010, what a run.
Yeah, you said Inception dropped this year, too?
Yeah, I remember by the time I was 10 by the time both these movies came out. I remember by the time I was 15, the conversation was already being had, or like still being had. And again, I'm 15. Who really cares about these things? But everybody was like, how does he not have an Oscar yet? And then you go back and watch. Well, The Revenant was when he got his first Oscar.
Okay.
And I think that came out in 2015 or maybe 2016. I saw it in theater.
That's a brutal watch, too, though.
It's a good watch. I like it. I understood.
Slow burn.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie, but you know, you're 15 years old, you're saying that, and you don't really understand why you're saying it.
Yeah.
Then you look up and you're 25, and you go back and watch a movie like this, and then also you've seen Inception, you've seen like plenty of his earlier works. Like, wait, no, seriously, how did he get snubbed? This dude's insane.
No, arguably, but the greatest actor alive.
It's arguable.
But
It's no, like
that's who I think is. That's my favorite actor of all
if
time.
anybody ever says Leonardo DiCaprio is the greatest actor of all time, it's like, yeah, the first thing you should be saying is, oh, I understand what you mean, but you have to say, I understand what you mean. Because there's just no arguing that he should be up there.
Right. You can't say he's not one of the GOATs.
Right. Yeah.
You can argue for other people. Like, people always argue Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
But DiCaprio, he crushes it.
Yeah,
every single
time.
role. Even
Every
from
time.
a young age. Even as a young boy.
Literally. And so, yeah, it's funny. So, before we dive into the movie, like, I saw an interview with, actually, you just walked in, but Martin was talking to Leo and was saying, yeah, I got introduced to you by Robert De Niro. And he never does that with the people that he works with.
Damn.
And Leo was like, what do you mean? He was like, yeah, you know, Robert was my guy for a long time there. And he would tell me like, oh yeah, you know, this guy's good. This guy's all right. I like working with this. And apparently Robert told Scorsese, hey, no, you got to meet this Leo. And that was after he had worked on a film that I haven't seen, but Leo was like still a kid.
What was it?
I think it was Leo's first ever movie, like big movie. I think Robert De Niro plays some kind of messed up father, and he beats up on DiCaprio, and he shows out.
The Boy's Life?
Yeah. It's The Boy's Life. When did that come out?
93.
93. So, yeah, I think this was Leo's, like, kind of breakthrough into Hollywood. I think he'd already kind of been introduced.
Yeah.
But this was...
Yeah, he had a few.
I think he was on a show. Like in the 80s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Leo was, I think he was raised by Hollywood. He's one of those.
I mean, Gilbert Grape, he was young in What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
When that come out?
93, same year.
No shit. Wow.
Wait. Hold on. He always does this. Okay, The Boy's Life and What's Eating Gilbert Grape both came out in the same year, 93. And then he did 3 movies. He was in 3 movies in 1 year, 95, with The Quick and the Dead, The Basketball Diaries, and 101 Nights. No, yeah. Is that 4 movies? Holy shit.
Busy.
4 movies in 1 year. Total Eclipse
And
came
he's
out
a
in 95.
kid.
And then he does 2 movies from 96, 2 movies in 98, 2 movies in 2002, 2 movies in 2006, 2 movies in 2008, 2 movies in 2010, 2 movies in 2013, and kind of he's staying active. But damn, that man was working.
He was working. He was a kid, bro. Have you ever seen The Basketball Diaries?
No.
Oh my God,
it's
bro.
good. It seemed like it would suck.
No, it's brutal. That's
Johnny
what I was
Depp?
getting at.
Is that Johnny Depp too?
No, actually, Mark Wahlberg.
Really?
Dude, I watched it in high school because I thought it was a basketball movie.
It's not?
Oh my God, no.
What is it?
Bro, he plays some kid in a private school, and I guess he's on a basketball team or whatever, but he gets addicted to heroin.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I think he's living in New York.
All right, let's see. All right, Jim Carroll, Leonardo DiCaprio, is consumed by his life as a high school basketball star. Pressured by a wicked coach and a concerned mother, Jim develops an appetite for heroin. Soon, the mean streets of New York City have replaced the basketball court as his main destination. Jim and his friends scrounge, steal, and prostitute themselves to score drugs. Jim's only chance to escape addiction may be Reggie. That doesn't sound like that's the good option. The guy named Reggie's not even escape. It gets
bad, bro. He sucks a man's cock in a bathroom stall in this movie.
Holy fuck. Yeah. I'll finish the sentence. Jim's only chance to escape addiction may be Reggie, a neighborhood friend and Hoop's companion.
I don't even know who Reggie is. I just remember...
If a guy named Reggie is your escape, you are in a bad place.
Yeah. I just remember I played basketball in high school, and Leonardo DiCaprio was the guy. I was like, Basketball Diaries? That's sick. And I should have read that. I just put it on my laptop. I think I watched it illegally.
Nice.
And because it's so hard to find that movie on streaming, especially like 2015.
Yeah, you got to rent that hoe.
Yeah. So Leo, man, he gets busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy movie.
But Shutter Island, this movie, when you watch it the first time, it's a big twist. You're like, holy fuck. You remember all the signs because it's very in your face. And so the second time you watch it, it's almost an entirely different experience watching it, knowing the twist.
Which is what we just did. So you said it's been about 2 years.
I don't know, but yeah, it's been a couple years.
It's been a long time since I've seen this movie.
I've seen it many times. Probably, this might be my 3rd or 4th watch.
This was only my 2nd watch. And my first watch was, God, dude. I mean, I think, like, I would assume probably 2016, 2017. Like, just because all I could remember was the twist.
Right.
Which sucks because I wish I just couldn't. But you don't forget something like that.
But honestly, it makes the watching experience better, in my opinion, when you do know the twist.
It's a
totally
you can see different
all
movie.
the clues drop throughout the entire movie.
Yeah. It's interesting seeing it in the time span that I saw it for the first time compared to the second. And you just, I've heard people say, oh, I predicted it, blah, blah, blah.
You're like, bullshit.
And I'm like, yeah, right. But then watching it the second time, I'm like, it was really right there in your face the whole time from the jump.
Yeah, literally the jump.
Yeah. But still, it's still told perfectly. Even though I knew how it ended, I didn't know how it ended. I forgot how it really ended.
Right.
It gets dark.
Yeah.
It's a really messed up
ending. It's bad.
Yeah. And, obviously, and you got to give credit to the performances. I mean, Leo, Sir Ben Kingsley, Mark Ruffalo. I mean, just that lighthouse scene at the end alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that is one of the most intense scenes you can get.
There's some even good scenes with Mark Ruffalo where these are kind of clues, which I'm going to point out here in a second. But Mark Ruffalo in some of these scenes, he's acting badly. You're like, that's a shitty performance.
Yeah.
Because he's a doctor
that's
pretending to be a detective. Or I guess a U.S. Marshal, not a detective.
Yeah.
So there's some scenes, the big one I think is whenever they're out smoking outside and DiCaprio's talking about all the stuff and he's like,
been on the beat for a long time. You got a duty, you got a career. What I'm doing, it's not exactly by the book.
And he's like, I don't care about playing by the book, boss. I just want to know what the hell's happening around here.
I don't give a damn about by the book, boss. I just want to know what the hell's going on.
And he says that line so badly, but it's that's a sign of great acting, being able to act badly when you need to.
Yeah, and Leo's essentially doing the same thing because he's playing the role of an insane man trying to play the role of a U.S. Marshal that's in denial about murdering his family.
Yeah, but he wasn't a U.S. Marshal, so he has that going for him.
Yeah, but just like, you know what I mean? Just like the sense of he has to play that borderline role of he could lose it at any second.
Yeah.
But he's still trying to maintain that composure.
Right. He breaks through his false identity.
Yeah.
Coming into that violent, crazy animal every once in a while where he's just, you're like, that's not a very good U.S. Marshal. He's kind of breaking some rules. Yeah, he's pretty unprofessional as a U.S. Marshal. He's getting really angry at things that you really shouldn't be getting angry about.
Exactly. And so once you see it that way, I mean, it is just brilliant acting.
Yeah, I was taking notes the whole movie, just writing down all the clues I saw, and the list is so long there's so many clues. I even just didn't write some down because they were so small.
Yeah.
But they're still hinting toward things. There's so many dialogue lines that tie into them alluding to the fact that if you know that he's actually the crazy one, all the lines he says and all the lines people say to him, you realize, oh, that's not what they're saying. It's all very subtextual with the things they're asking him and telling him.
And honestly, it got to the point where I'm just watching it and I'm thinking, how dumb could I have been on the first watch that I didn't put it together?
But they do a good thing though, where it's like the way they structure it's pretty smart, because the twist is in your face when you watch it the second time, but the first time you watch it, they kind of add the fact that he has this trauma from the Nazis. So all of his flashbacks and all the anger he has, you kind of just think, oh, it's because he has trauma from when he was a soldier and murdered all those Nazis in cold blood whenever they were all surrendering and weren't in a threatening position. So you kind of believe, okay, that's why he's a little bit crazy and messed up, because he has this bad trauma. Yeah. And he hates that one doctor, the main guy with the white hair, the old guy, the guy that's kind of pro lobotomy. Because he was a German guy, so he assumes he was a Nazi. So he's like, fuck you. So it makes sense why he's angry at that guy. They kind of hide some things, and there's some sketchiness going on with how the characters interact with him. You realize that because he is crazy, but not knowing he's crazy, you just think they're acting really weird. And you're like, oh shit, they are covering some shit. The movie's called Shutter Island. It's like, what's this island? Yeah. And so you kind of think you're able to get tricked by the story that what he's saying is probably true.
Well, and I think even if you're watching it for the first time, you might start siding with Leo on the side that, okay, they're going to go for the twist that he's crazy, you know. But then in the middle, when he gets to the cave and he meets the doctor, she kind of puts it in your face, like, this is what they're going to tell you. Like, you can't believe them. If they've already said you're crazy, like, you're just crazy, blah, blah, blah. So you're thinking, okay, now it's going to go a different route, essentially. Yeah. And, I mean, it doesn't, but it kind of leaves the audience thinking, wait, what did just happen?
Well, she basically confirms all the suspicions that Leo's been hinting at, and she ties it all together to where you're like, oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. He's been taking medicine. He's been smoking their cigarettes. Yep. He's been in control by these people. That does make sense.
So it is a setup.
Yeah. Yeah. So as an audience, you're like, oh, fuck, he is right. And there is some shady shit going on. Yeah. And then it gets revealed at the very end where it's like, nope. He's crazy. That was a hallucination.
Yeah. Or were they actually drugging him the whole time?
There's some theories about that. Those are a big stretch because
that doesn't surprise me.
There's so many things that point to the fact that it's not the case. Yeah. And it's revealed at the end, but you could not believe it. But I've seen there's an hour-long breakdown on YouTube by some guy
about
explaining
how
he's actually Teddy Daniels.
They tricked him.
Yeah. They tricked him and he's actually sane, but they're trying to make him be crazy. You can kind of make that argument a little bit.
It's an hour-long video.
He's breaking it down, yeah.
See, that shows...
Let's get the guy
that shows that this was a good movie. If you can make an argument like that for an hour long.
Yeah, so if you look up Shutter Island, We Were Wrong About the Ending by a dude named Poltergeist. Is that what that is? Yeah. Poltergeist has an hour-long video breaking down why we were wrong about the ending of Shutter Island. Got 1.2 million views. It's a pretty good video, so if you're curious on that argument, watch that video and see if you're persuaded. I don't think that's the case. I think he's definitely crazy. Yeah. That's the whole point of the movie. But it is fun to kind of theorize that maybe he is innocent, but he's not.
No. So what are the signs, man?
Okay, here we go. I'm going to run through them. I got a ton, so I'm just going to blow through these real quick.
Can I just go through the ones I can think off the top of my head?
Sure.
The first one that comes to mind is that when they're on the boat, he meets Mark Ruffalo's character.
Yeah, Chuck.
And they're introducing themselves on the boat.
Right.
that would not be the case. They would have gotten on the boat together.
Good point.
Like that would not be their first time meeting.
Yep.
They would have gotten on.
Missed that one, so that's a good point.
Yeah. The second one is he never has his own cigarettes.
Yep.
And so the reason for that being is because he's crazy and you can't give a crazy person access to fire.
Yeah.
What was the third one? Oh, the third one, I was laughing about it in the middle of the movie. This whenever they pull up and the security guards meet them, they just have the guns drawn.
They're all
they're
on
ready
edge,
to go.
ready. Yeah.
You know, but again, that's just on the second watch. I was like, oh my God, like they're literally, and they're making fun of him. The staff is essentially, they're laughing at him. You feel kind of bad for him on that second watch.
Yep, you do.
Because you're just, man, like this guy is just getting.
It's all a show for him.
Yeah, all these people are, I mean, are they getting paid extra? I mean, I'd hope so. Like for role playing,
Yeah.
kind of putting yourself in danger. Yeah, that's off the top of my head. That's all I can think of.
Okay, here are all the clues you may have missed from Shutter Island. Like you were saying, he doesn't have a lighter. He can't light his own cigarettes. Never once in the movie he lights his own cigarettes because he can't have access to fire, just like you just said.
Oh, okay, nice.
Whenever they get dropped off in the boat, the captain's like, he says,
We'll be casting off as soon as you two are ashore. I'd appreciate it if you'd hurry up about it.
Why?
Storm's coming.
so I think the captain's pissed because he's like, this is a pointless risk. He's like, this guy's not a fucking marshal. Why are we doing this?
Because you would never say that to a government official.
Right.
Like, oh, there's a storm.
You could justify it where it's like there's a storm and they had to get there, so it's like you know, can you hurry it up?
Maybe he wouldn't be a dick. He'd probably suggest like, hey, I would say y'all would want to pick up the pace here a little bit.
Right. But I think he's pissed because he's like, this is a pointless risk of us about to beat the storm.
That makes sense.
Like you were saying, the guards being on edge, you can see them all super on edge as he's walking up. They're all staring him down.
Guns drawn.
Yeah.
They all have their guns drawn.
Ready to see him act a fool so they can shoot him down. Whenever they roll up, there's a sign that says, let me see if I can pull this up. So as he rolls up here.
Oh, and the tree line?
Yeah, so right here. So a sign they show for a reason. Remember us, for we too have lived, loved, and laughed. Which I think ties into his children. Remember your children. Because at the very end, whenever Ben Kingsley, the doctor, shows him the daughter, he's like, are you going to admit that she didn't? Are you going to not recognize that she lived? Are you really going to do that? Like pretend that your daughter wasn't alive?
Her name was Rachel. Are you going to deny that she ever lived? Andrew, are you?
You loved your daughter. It's like, remember too, we have too lived, loved, and laughed. Thinking about the kids. That's a little sign they show. They're like, remember your past. Like, remember who was here. You're forgetting your loved ones. Obviously, the guards. I think I said the guards watching them heavy. The whole scene. Like, let's just watch them when they get up to the gate. So watch this guy right here. This dude stares him down the whole time.
Is catching.
You're hereby required to
That's
surrender
kind of a hint.
Yeah.
See, watch this guy.
Mr. McPherson, we are duly appointed federal marshals. We are required to...
Staring his ass down because he knows he's the prisoner.
Yeah.
So there's one. Obviously, in this scene too, we'll keep it going.
Firearms with us at all times.
Gentlemen, you will not get through this gate with your firearms.
They gotta take their firearms off because they're walking into an insane asylum. Teddy Daniels, who was a U.S. Marshal, easy money. Here's a gun. The partner, who's not a U.S. Marshal, he's just a doctor, cannot get the gun out of his belt.
That's right. He has to take the whole thing out.
Yeah. The guards roll his eyes like, oh my God, come on, bro. And he's even like, what the fuck are you doing?
Come on, boys.
So there's a hint. He's not a U.S. Marshal. He's not used to his gun. It's his first time pulling a gun out of a holster.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know how to do it.
Just his whole attitude there. He's just very dismissive. Like, he's just a security guard.
Yep.
And he's thinking, these guys are crazy murderers. What are we doing?
Yeah,
Why are we seriously having to role play with this guy right now?
Well, actually, they mentioned that this guy was
he was
cool
with it?
He believed in the method. He's like, I'm actually willing to try this out. Let's see if it works. So
Really?
that's why he's like the main guy showing him around, because he was happy to be involved. That's what there's a scene whenever
Sir Ben Kingsley?
Dr. Cawley, right? Dr. Cawley. Dr. Cawley says he's a big supporter of my work. He's a big help in what I do.
McPherson's a good man. He believes in the work we do here.
With my new revolutionary tactic. When you watch him walk around, look at his clothes. Those clothes do not fit him Everybody else is tailored. They all look nice. His clothes are way too big because they just grabbed it off a rack and shoved it on him to play his character. It's a costume. That tie doesn't fit him. That jacket is way too big. The shoulders don't match. The sleeves are way too long.
Oh, yeah. Because if you look at Mark Ruffalo, he looks good.
Yeah, it fits him because it's his clothes.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not his clothes. They threw some onto him because it's not his actual clothes.
Yeah.
So that if he was a U.S. Marshal, he'd likely have clothes that fit him. The scary lady, obviously, who everybody knows this one, when she tells him to shh, looking at her, staring her down because she's looking at him weird. She tells him to shush because her eyes are bloodshot. She lost her hair, which are signs of a recent lobotomy. And so she just got lobotomized. So it's almost like she's telling him, shh, don't, be careful because they're going to lobotomize you if you don't act right. So keep your mouth shut. So she's kind of warning him there. That's a clear sign. But the lobotomy sign is like a really
the
dark kind of, and her eyes are bloodshot. It's just,
she's gone.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, her neck just got lacerated by something. They had to tie her up by a noose or something to keep her still. Who knows?
Yeah, because I think they tie them to a chair, then they do an electric pulse, and then they go digging.
Yep. Whenever he's talking to Dr. Colley, and they're talking about this patients, and he wants to help them, and he talks about their sense of calm. Teddy Daniels says, screw their sense of calm.
Try to heal, try to cure. And if that fails, at least we provide them with a measure of comfort in their lives. Calm.
These are all violent offenders, right? They've hurt people, murdered them in some cases.
In almost all cases, yes.
And personally, Doctor, I'd have to say screw their sense of calm.
He's almost talking about himself in that scene. He's like, screw their sense of calm, because he's, having a fake life, and he also can't stand himself. So he has to live this false life. And so he's like, screw their sense of calm. He's almost like talking about himself in that scene.
Well, and plus, he was a U.S. Marshal, so he's been dealing with just kind of your probably bad criminals. So he's just not used to justifying the acts of what an evil man can do.
Yeah, and he hates himself for what he did and what, he feel like he killed his children. He did kill his wife. So he hates himself. So he's like, screw their sense of calm. Screw them, because he hates himself.
Yeah, and I'm sure on a deeper level, he's thinking of all the guys that he's arrested in the past. And he's like, oh, fuck whatever reason you had for doing what you did. And now that he's murdered his wife, he's thinking, what was their rock bottom? Maybe how did they get here?
Right.
Yeah.
They all did bad shit. They're all bad people, clearly. They did horrible things. Yeah. All these people did horrible things. He said almost all of them committed murder to be in here. So they're all pretty psycho.
Yeah. He said, pretty much all of them.
He said basically all of them.
Yeah.
So there's a few cases where they're not, but most of them have, because they're in the most secluded.
Dude, if you're getting shipped off to an island for insanity, I would expect nothing short of murder. So
exactly. Obviously, this is a pretty clear one, but whenever the doctor is explaining Rachel's situation, how she disappeared, he basically explains exactly what Teddy Daniels is doing.
She also believes this place is her home in the Berkshires. She's never once in 2 years acknowledged that she's in an institution.
2 years. How long he's been there.
Milkmen, postal workers. To sustain the delusion that her children never died, she's created an elaborate fictional structure, and she gives us all parts to play in that fiction.
Rachel is he's trying to show him that the person you think you're trying to chase is actually you. He explains how she killed her kids, she went crazy, and she's denying it, and she doesn't know she's in an insane asylum. She thinks they're all people. They're just milkman deliveries, living in a normal house. She's just in pure denial of what it is. So the doctor's clearly there explaining exactly what Teddy Daniels is going through right now.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty clear sign. If you notice in the movie, everything Mark Ruffalo asks, and as his detective work, asking questions, quizzing him, he's saying all these things to reveal things to Teddy. Let's see. Let's go to this scene. Here we go. I think this is going to get him out.
But you can see him just looking to Mark Ruffalo's character, because this is the second time that they've done this.
This is the first time they've done this. They've had breakthroughs with him before, trying to talk to him about it.
Is that what
this is? The first time they've done this elaborate role play simulation for him.
Okay. I was confused because at the end he was like, we got here before, and then you relapsed.
So that's why they did this drastic measure, to see if they know they had one breakthrough. Let's see if we can maybe have him actually act these things out and just show him how ridiculous his theories are.
Okay.
So let's see what Mark Ruffalo says in this scene.
How many pairs of shoes are the patients given?
2 pairs.
He says that to make sure that Teddy knows they only get 2 shoes. So then when he reaches in the cabinet,
She left here barefoot? Come on, Doc, she couldn't get 10 yards in that terrain.
see, he's saying these things so that Teddy will realize how ridiculous this is. This girl left her place with 2 shoes barefoot in this rocky terrain. Why would she do that? That doesn't make any sense. She would at least put shoes on. So he's kind of saying all these things to him to show him this theory you have is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Get it, son. Get it. Or another one. The Law of 4. They bring that up later when he plants that clue there about the Law of 4. That's exactly what he's going through right now. He's doing the Law of 4, changing the letters around to trick himself with these false identities. Another clear one is whenever they're looking for the patient. All the guards are just sitting around throwing rocks because they're not looking for anybody because there's nobody to look for. Whenever they're getting asked questions by Teddy Daniels, the entire staff is getting asked questions by Teddy.
So nonchalant. Yeah. Okay.
So
I wrote that down.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that a mass murderer psycho that just escaped from prison, that would have everybody on edge, but they're cracking jokes.
Right.
They're just laughing in the whole room.
Yeah.
This guy is just nervous to be put on the spot.
So think about this. Because it's a role-playing situation, maybe not all the nurses are willing to do the fake acting and role-play and lie to Teddy because maybe they're scared of Teddy or they're just not comfortable doing the role-playing. So probably only a few of them got briefed and are in. They're all in it, but only a few are have a role. So whenever they're getting asked questions, they ask a question.
Me.
That guy's like, oh, ask him. Because he's like, oh, I don't got the answers. I'm not doing anything. Ask this guy. So it's kind of like only a few of these nurses and staff have a role to play.
They were given a script
of
exactly what to say. Yeah.
So they're kind of like, oh, don't ask me, ask him. Right. So that's kind of a sign. Not all of them are willing to answer questions because they're not all in the role playing situation. Whenever they call the radio.
Sorry, sir, but it's all down, all the lines. The storm's hitting the mainland like a hammer.
If you get it working, come find me immediately. The marshals need to make an important call.
Yes, sir.
So listen to the operator.
Hello.
Saying hello.
I'm afraid I have
Then he looks back. He's like, hello, playing his role, and he looks back to make sure they left so he can drop his act. He's kind of looking back, saying like, are they leaving? Okay, sweet, I can stop acting like
hello.
I'm trying to call people.
Okay, all right, we're back.
Exactly. Whenever the head doctor is really questioning Teddy, when he's asking him like, do you believe in God? He's saying, you're two violent men.
Yeah.
He's pressuring really hard because he doesn't believe the experiment that's going on with Teddy.
He's just trying to get him to crack right there.
Yeah, he's trying to lobotomize him. He thinks this guy needs to be lobotomized. That's kind of his old school practice. He's an old school doctor. And so you kind of look at the faces of Mark Ruffalo, Chuck. He's like, you can tell he's kind of like, hey, what are you doing? Stop pressing so hard. We're in the middle of our experiment. Like, we're in the beginning stages. So like, stop pressing so hard.
Men like you are my specialty. Men of violence.
That's a hell of an assumption to make.
No assumption, no, not at all.
So you kind of see in their face they're a little bit uneasy with him pressuring so hard. I'll run through the rest of these pretty quick. Whenever he has a dream and his wife's telling him about Latest, and which is him, he's like, you need to face it. You need to face it, and you need to face me.
I'm not. You have to face that. But she is.
So it's kind of like telling him, like, hey, his subconscious is telling him, like, you need to face your reality. The first crazy guy in the interview, remember whenever he's like, they're asking the first crazy guy, he's talking about.
It was obvious. She wanted me to pull out my thing so that she could laugh at it.
Whenever he talks about a wife that drowned her kids.
You know that she drowned her own kids?
Teddy's like getting kind of getting a little odd about it, and he grabs his pencil and like is like nervously scratching at the paper because he's having flashbacks. Like that's reminding him about his life, of what actually happened in his life. And then plus it makes it worse when he starts talking about the gas chamber.
What, they should be gassed? All of them?
Which then reminds him again about his Nazi trauma. The crazy lady, the next interview, the crazy lady is talking to him.
The fake glass of water.
Yep. And they're talking about Rachel Dolores because she has her script about what to say about Rachel. Not Dolores. It's Rachel Solanda. Sorry. Talking about Rachel Solanda, and she's saying like...
What can you tell us about Rachel?
She thought she was still living in the Berkshires, and we were all her neighbors. The
milkman, postman.
Deliveryman.
He almost like corrects her because that's his lie. He remembers it from his past. He's like, yeah, deliveryman. You know, like, cause he's kind of like,
damn.
he almost like corrects her. It's kind of funny. They say the crazy lady was coached because she was coached. She literally had a script.
Yeah.
Teddy tells him that Andrew Latis started the spark that caused the fire that killed my wife.
Andrew Latis lit the match that caused the fire that killed my wife.
Because Andrew Latis did do that. His wife was going crazy, and he didn't stop it or get her help. And so that fire, air quote, that killed his wife, he did kind of start it. So he's kind of talking about himself in that situation. A really cool one is that Andrew Latis, when you see him finally, the dream, he has like this nasty scar across his face.
Mm-hmm.
The guy looks so much like Robert De Niro, by the way. That nasty scar.
Kind of sounds like him too.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like it's like
They should have just put Robert De Niro in there.
That'd been a funny
Just
cameo.
A nice cameo, yeah.
Teddy Daniels has a scar on his eye, which they added. The makeup department added that scar here, so it's symbolizing that that's a connection. It's just like DiCaprio doesn't have a scar above his eye.
He just always has that Band-Aid on.
He has a Band-Aid, but in his eyebrow there's like a scar.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, it's very light, but in it he's a line in his eyebrow. That's a scar.
I never noticed that.
Yeah, so that's kind of tying to Andrew Latis. He makes like the worst version of himself have that scar go across his face instead of just on his eye.
Gotcha.
So a little tie in there. Whenever Teddy walks into the doctors talking about what they're going to do with the patients once the storm hits, where they're going to put them and how they're going to keep them safe. Somebody talks about the law of 4, and you hear one of the doctors say, the law of 4, I love that.
The law of 4, I love that.
Because that's a psychological thing. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's a great thing. Like, that's so crazy. Like, he's fascinated by that idea.
Yeah, even though the doctor, the main one, he denied he didn't know what it was.
Yeah. What's his name? Collie.
Yeah.
Collie didn't know what he says. He claims he doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
But the other guy's like, I love that, hinting toward the fact that they know exactly what Teddy's doing to himself. Obviously, the 67th patient. Whenever they mention that, when they're in that same meeting, the Nazi the German doctor. I don't know if he's a Nazi or not, but I
don't think he's a Nazi.
That's what Teddy thinks he is. He's almost like, he says, "This is ridiculous. Like, what are you doing in here?"
This is ridiculous. What are they doing here?
Because he's like, why? It's like, because he doesn't believe in the experiment. And so he's telling him, like, why is he in here? Like, this is a serious matter. Like, let's get this little role play thing you got going on out of here. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Hinting toward the fact that he doesn't believe in it. Whenever Rachel Solanda, the actress, the nurse, who's putting on, by the way, the performance of a lifetime, she's just a nurse.
I was confused by that. So she just happens to be a nurse that is a good actress? Is that is that in the story? Like, that's just all it is?
She's a nurse. Because at the end of the movie, you see that she's just a nurse.
Oscar.
Seriously, performance of a lifetime.
Yeah.
So whenever she's talking about the lake, you can see in Teddy's eyes he's having real trouble hearing her talk about a lake because that's where his children died.
Well, you could see, I mean, he gives her a hug.
Yeah.
No U.S. Marshal is going to do that.
Right. So watch this. This is funny too. Here's another little clue. Whenever she's put on that performance of lifetime crying, acting like a crazy lady, like you believe it as an audience. You're like, holy shit, this is real. So watch the doctors in the background once she breaks away.
Splashing into the sea, eaten by sharks.
Let's wait for this to go. Look at Mark Ruffalo and Ben Kingsley's face. They're like, oh my God, you are getting into it.
Yeah, you are killing this.
Like knowing that she's just acting, they're like, oh my God, you're really going for it.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you on this island?
You need to be in movies, man.
Yeah.
That's not really a hint, but that's just funny knowing that the what's really happening and seeing their face like, oh my gosh, she's really going for this role.
Yeah.
Whenever the lightning is flashing and he has a migraine, the collie is like, oh, you're having a migraine. Let me get you some aspirin. He knows the exact thing he's going through because he knows he's going through withdrawals from the medicine he took him off. So it's he just very easily diagnoses what he needs because he knows exactly what he's going through.
Yeah. Well, even Leo's character, he knows, kind of just off muscle memory. He's like, no, I'm okay. He's like, no, just take it. It's for the pain. He's like, okay, yeah. It's
yeah.
In a way, he's been doing this for 2 years, for a long time. You can just kind of see he didn't really put that much resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another one, pretty obvious, but the little girl who actually is his daughter, you come to find out, she says, you should have saved us. She says that multiple times because he feels that he could have saved his daughter. So in his subconscious dreams, his daughter's telling him, "You could have saved us," making him feel really guilty.
Yeah, but again, to me, that was like, okay, they might, just for the first time viewer of this movie, they just be thinking, okay, he's still dealing with the past trauma of when he was in Germany and he had to kill kids or like saw the kids, you know.
Right.
Obviously, it ties into being more than that, but I didn't think that was like obvious. That's still, nobody could have predicted that would be what it ended up being.
Right, because you see that same little girl who is his daughter, you see her
buried
in the camp.
in the bodies in the camp.
Yeah. So you're thinking like he's having like a crossover dream where it's like he's having the trauma from this girl that just pretended that thought she was air quote Jim, her fake, Rachel Solanda's fake husband, and then tying it back into his Nazi trauma. So you kind of think like, okay, that makes sense.
I just feel, kind of the eerie sense of somebody that's a soldier that had to be put through something like that. And he's dealing with such a traumatic case, and you're just put into this world where it's all so messed up, and every single human you interact with has some kind of trauma. There'd be it would make sense that you would start having these creepy ass dreams.
Yeah,
you're stuck on an island, just
with crazy people.
Yeah, just all the circumstances would point towards like it would make sense that your PTSD would start kind of kicking in at this point.
Yeah. For some reason, he doesn't want to look at Lattis's intake form, which would...
Oh, yeah.
Because he knows deep down that that's him on that intake form. And that would prove his entire theory wrong. He would find out the truth in that intake form. So he's subconsciously refusing to take it when it's like... Even Dr. Cartley tells him, like, you could have blew this whole case out of the water if you would have just read this intake form.
Yeah.
Like, this is the answer you needed. This is it right here, page 67. This is the whole thing. But he obviously doesn't take it.
Probably a good thing he didn't take it. Because he offers it to him on the edge of a cliff. So if he had just read it right there, he would have just looked at Mark Ruffalo and just jumped off probably.
Yeah. He's like, fuck. And then last one, with Rachel Solanda, when he's talking to her, he says, I think it's in a dream. Maybe not. I could be wrong here. But he says,
you can never take away all a man's memories. Never.
Pointing to the fact that his memories are still there deep down. He's like kind of like pointing to himself. So many clues. Yeah. And I missed probably a ton of them there.
Yeah.
But just running through those quick. Those are basically all the clues that I caught that just hint toward the fact that this twist is coming.
Yeah.
Wild how I mean, even the dialogue, I mean, it's just crazy how deep he went into this story.
Yeah. Is it better to live as a monster or die a good man? Martin Scorsese said that was the line that made him want to do the movie.
That's cool.
He said he read the script. He was given the script.
Okay.
And then he said once he read that line, he was in.
That's a perfect ending.
Yeah.
That is the best way to wrap this movie up.
Truly. So he, it leaves the audience thinking, wait, did he just like choose to have a lobotomy?
He did.
Because he just can't deal with it?
I think he did.
I think he did too, but who knows? That could have just been kind of his subconscious, just out of nowhere.
Right.
He's so all over the place, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Who really knows? Maybe that was just a brief moment of sanity.
Yeah, but
Mark Ruffalo's character, wait, what does he say? He says his name.
No, he calls him Teddy.
Okay.
He says, Teddy. I'm trying to
but it's
can you elaborate?
It's more of a, Teddy?
Yes.
Damn, did we just have the breakthrough?
Right.
You're kind of fucking me.
Yeah,
if we did.
Yeah, if this worked, this could help a lot of people.
Yeah, you're really messing things up. We just pulled a lot of strings to get this done. So if you're just kind of messing with us now,
yeah,
I'd really appreciate it if you gave us that information. No, he definitely he chose to have that lobotomy.
Yeah, that's what's
he just can't deal with pain anymore.
That's what's so heartbreaking about the ending is that he did have a breakthrough, and then you see him turn. You're like, oh damn, it didn't work.
What would you expect for somebody to have a breakthrough of that? Losing 3 children that your wife murdered in the lake, and then you kill her?
That you feel guilty for?
You're already fucked up from World War II. I mean, what did you think? You think he would just be like, oh, we did it, guys.
Yep.
Thanks. I guess we can go grab a beer on the mainland?
Yeah.
No. It's like, oh, this is my reality. My reality sucks.
So bad.
I'm going to go get that lobotomy. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, the doctor in the cave who wasn't even real, at least provided me with the information that these doctors can take the pain away, the memories, just everything. I'll do that. I'm not necessarily ready to die, but everything that I understand right now sucks. There's no just coming back from that.
I mean, I can't even imagine living with that pain. That is the most pain.
Nobody could possibly imagine living with that pain. Want to know why? Because anybody that's dealt with that is probably on an island, shut up in a cage, which sucks. Truly,
it does suck
sucks.
bad. The biggest suck of all time.
That is the biggest. I mean, you only get one life, and that's a terrible card to be dealt. Terrible hand to be dealt.
I don't even know how you get past that, bro.
You don't get past it. That's why you get a lobotomy. Nobody just re-enters into normal society. Even if you have the breakthrough, nothing's getting done. You're not going to go return to your 9 to 5.
No.
It's over.
Or just hang out in the prison because you obviously murdered somebody.
You can't just say, hey, doc, good work. Why don't we go grab a beer? It's over. So that's probably, kind of what these old school scientists are thinking is, okay, so you made the breakthrough.
Yeah.
What do you do now? Like, does he go back to work? Does he go back to society? No. It's a done deal.
Brutal ending.
Brutal.
But perfect ending.
Brutal. Talk about how the movie was made, just in the sense of Martin Scorsese always has the great vision, just a master. Yeah, just a man that you can tell is like very well cultured, I think, and that's coming from a guy that's not well cultured at all. I talk about movies on a podcast. No, but like I'm so impressed with myself that how could I not speak about it on the podcast?
Okay.
But there was one scene, maybe there were two scenes, but essentially when Leo's looking at the dead bodies that he sees in Germany, it reminded me of something. And Martin, through the interviews that I've seen of him, he's very in tune with like classic art and
paintings.
Yeah, paintings, and he's very in touch with classical music, that kind of thing. You can see that and hear that through all of his movies. And so there was a scene where Leo, after he does the deed in Nazi Germany, that he sees all the bodies of the dead women and dead children.
He's dreaming about his experience, right?
Yeah, and he sees just kind of the piles of bodies. And I wonder if we can look this up, but there's a painting, a French work of art. It's called the Raft of Medusa. And it's a terrible story. And it's based on like the painting itself.
What's the story?
So I guess way back in the day, I don't know what the dates are. I'm not that cultured, but essentially there's a story of these people in France. They went on a boat, or a ship, and it started to it malfunctioned. And so they had to build like a huge raft. And I guess like 140, 150 people, women, children, men were on this raft, and they made it 14 days before they were eventually rescued.
This is a true story?
Yeah. The painting ended up being huge, but the painting is based on something that did happen. Let me see. Yeah, 1790, 18. Okay, yeah. So back in the day.
Yeah, 1791.
Yeah, so I think they were stranded for 13 or 14 days. And by the time they were found and rescued, this is what they saw. There's just like people lying on kind of dead bodies. I say kind of dead. These people, they resorted to cannibalism in like a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they weren't, they can't drink the water because they're in the ocean.
Right.
So I think part of the story is that they just stocked up a bunch of wine for the raft. And so all these people are just hammered, hungry.
Eating each other.
Bro, women, children, they're the first to go. Yeah.
God.
And so, but it looks just like the shot in the movie. And I would assume that Martin would draw some kind of inspiration because this is a powerful work of art.
There's another one too I've heard I didn't make this connection. I learned this, but there's another painting that he kind of ties to. It takes inspiration from.
I don't know. That's all I got as far as the art game goes. That's all you'll ever get out of me. For some reason.
So here's this frame with this painting, famous painting.
Okay.
He kind of takes inspiration from. It's called
whatever. Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's called the Kiss by Gustav Klimt. Yeah. So Scorsese with his art.
Very, very pretty. Very wow. Thank you, Cade.
You're welcome. See, I'm culture too.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about that painting in probably 2 years.
It's a dark story.
It is. I was very into it.
Were you?
I mean, you wouldn't believe me based off of the explanation I just gave, but that was about 2 years ago. So I did the best I could with the memory. A quick Google search. I was like, oh yeah, dead people, wine, raft, women, children,
cannibalism.
Yeah. But it reminded me a lot of that.
I love in the movie. I love the opening shot with the ferry coming out of the fog. Because I think it's almost symbolizing. You're watching Teddy Daniels come out of the fog. They're sending him out of the fog of his imagination with his fake reality. It's like he's coming out of his subconscious.
Yeah, they're letting him start his dream world from a pretty good start for a dream. Mm-hmm. You know, coming just out of exactly what you're saying.
It's like
so
the
it's
fog.
not like he's waking up in a cot and he's a U.S. Marshal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, they've officially given him a starting point.
Yeah,
as a U.S. Marshal.
Right.
And they've given him the backstory of, oh, this is where we just came from, and everything. So
because that fog is
it's helping him.
That fog is his reality, where he's neglecting. You can't see it because he can't see it.
Yeah.
And he's letting Teddy Daniels come out of the fog to live this experience.
Yeah.
Just like a beautiful way to open the movie, very thematically with what's about to happen.
Yeah, but it's from a doctor's standpoint, if you're going to do this, you can't just let him wake up on the island. You have to let him wake up in the ocean. Obviously, let him get the demons out because he's terrified of water.
Yep.
Justified.
Yep.
So, and, it just kind of lets him be like, yeah, wait, I'm on a boat because I'm going to this island because they're under investigation because Nazi Germany's trying to take over, U.S. government, so he gets to just kind of buy into his character a lot more.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it is the perfect way to start. Yeah.
And I love the way they also use the water and the fire as symbols of his past and his false reality, because in the opening when he's super sick on the ferry is because he's surrounded by water, so he's forced to remember the water. He can't. The water causes him to get crazy because he can't help but think about what happened to his kids, how they drowned in a lake on his lakefront, beautiful property. And so when he's opened up, he's obviously sick with the water. So that's some symbolism there. But all throughout the movie, you see when there's a lot of water, that's when he's, that's his reality that he's trying to fight all the time.
Yeah.
But the fire is the opposite because he tells everybody that his wife was burned in a fire. That's the opposite of water. So he tries to say all his family died from a fire. And so it's kind of the opposite stuff, because even whenever you see the fake Andrew Latis with that giant scar across his face, you see him open with the fire. It shows the fire first and then it turns and you see Andrew Latis. So that's kind of going into this isn't real. Even when he's talking to the doctor in the cave, the fire that they're sitting around that little campfire, the flames are always in frame, just showing you that this isn't real. This is a hallucination because it's all the fire. He's trying to put this fire, fire story in front of you where this is what he's thinking is happening, but it's not real.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. I love how they use the water because even whenever the wife, has a dream when he's holding her and she kind of burns.
I think is that the first dream that he has?
Yeah, I think it's the first dream he has.
Yeah.
There's
the apartment is burning.
Yep.
But she's drenched.
Wet. Yeah. And he's holding her gut where he did shoot her. And before the blood comes out, the water comes out, kind of reminding him of the water. What happened.
Yeah, why the blood came after.
And whenever she walks over to the lake view, looking out the window of their beautiful view of that little sports swing in the lake, her back is all burned. Because I think it's him almost blocking out that memory because he sees her burned while she's looking at the lake.
Yeah.
So it's trying to fight that he's putting the burn on her back to like remind himself that no, she got burned. I didn't kill her and she didn't drown our kids. Like she got burned.
Yeah.
It's like the water is just great.
So interesting that Leo kind of played like two of the same characters in the same, like back to back with Inception and Shutter Island. They both don't do well with water.
Oh, why? Because Inception with the
water is splash on you and it wakes you up from the dream.
What do they call it? The kick.
The kick?
Yeah,
it's a kick.
Yeah, the kick. Yeah. Usually they use a kick to like wake up from their dream. There's even more water. Like whenever he's talking about his wife the first time when that's that opening scene with Chuck, and he's remembering his wife, and you see her, and then it's like you see her in that dream, then it cuts to water, and then it cuts on a freeze frame of her face. So like he's talking about his wife, flashes to the water, reminding him of the trauma, the PTSD flashback, and then it cuts to a freeze frame of his wife trying to like block it out. Like, nope, she's good. It's okay. She didn't kill our kids. So like he's always using that water. Like even when he's walking down to go see George Noyce in Ward C, as he walks to where he's about to get the truth from George Noyce, he doesn't believe it, but he basically gets the truth from him. He like walks through all the dripping water because like he's like walking through the water to get there. And the best use of water, I think, is when he finally does get the truth, he has to jump into the water to swim to the lighthouse. So it's him finally taking that plunge into the water to like face the truth. It's like he's finally like confronting the water for the first time, confronting the truth. So it's cool how they use that water symbolism and fire throughout the movie. It's a great use of symbolism in this movie. Yeah. Like I just remember one more thing about the water. It's smart that the doctors probably planned this role play out to happen during a storm, so that way he's always having to face water. Because it's during a storm, so he's always having to like think about the water because it's just raining, pouring. He's always wet. People are always wet. Just tying him back to that memory of his wife being wet. Because like a big revelation that happens when he's flashing back on his past. He's telling Chuck about his past and the Nazis and like how he feels like he murdered these people. And you get the whole flashback when he just gunned down the Nazis. That happens after a really bad storm when all the branches were crashing, and then they run to that cemetery to go hide and shelter for cover. And, because the storm's hitting so hard and the water's there, that's when he kind of starts to open up about his past and like the actual truth of what happened. He's kind of being himself in that situation.
I was wondering if the storms were even real.
That's another theory, actually, that the storms weren't real. Because...
Oh, that is a theory?
Yeah, that it's all in his head.
Well, I think about when we were watching the movie and they're in the woods, they're looking at the cemetery and they're making it to that small little shack. And I said, dude, like all the trees flying, the branches that are flying all around them.
Mm-hmm.
I get that it's a movie, but how would you not be impaled, like 50 times?
Right.
Just with everything flying around. And then, at the very end, after he's had his breakthrough, and I guess you could think maybe it's been a few days since he's had the breakthrough in the lighthouse, but the lawn, the courtyard, looks so pretty and well put together.
Right.
It looks like there wasn't a storm at all.
Yeah.
And there was some serious damage throughout the whole movie. So I kind of at the end there, I was like, oh, were the storms fake? But I don't know, because everybody was having to deal with it. I mean, they had to keep showering. I don't know. Everybody had their windshield wipers on.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to prove it because there's a lot of signs that it did happen, but
people do.
There are some theories that it all is in his head, because the big one is that the fact that it's cleaned up so fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's another one people point to whenever that's like the first time he gets in the guard's car, the kind of the main guard that's kind of been walking them around and been the one that introduced him.
Yeah.
That guy.
The one that's on board.
Yes.
Yeah.
When he gets in the car, he goes, "Nice night." Sarcastically.
He's been kind of a dickhead.
But people say that nice night like it's not raining.
Yeah.
That's kind of like something that they say. And okay, this is actually really funny. You'll probably get a kick out of this. This is
I probably did get a kick out of this.
Well, no, you probably didn't notice it. Watch this. Whenever he guns down the Nazis, watch them all die, and I'll point out this guy at the very end. Okay, watch this guy. Where my cursor's going, watch him. You can't, it's hard to see from here, but he smiles. The dude like falls down and smiles.
Bro.
He literally like, as he's falling back, he smiles.
Come on.
Bad actor.
He was trying to grimace.
Horrible grimace.
He was trying to...
Bad actor.
That was the role of his lifetime, and he blew it.
Blew it.
Right in front of Martin.
Ruined the movie. You know what's interesting about the title? Shutter Island?
Oh, if you spell it a different way, what does it say?
Yeah, so if you change the letters around, it says truth and lies. It's an anagram, the rule of 4. Basically what the whole movie's about. But the Shutter Island change, if you reorder the letters, you can make it say truth and lies.
Nice one, Marty.
Nice one, Marty. Or a screenwriter, whoever titled it.
Good job.
Yeah, this is a top tier movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it is made to be rewatched. That's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah, the rewatch is definitely better. So what do you rate it on your second watch? Second watch ever?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you rate it?
9.
Okay, star rating, enjoyability rating.
4.5.
Okay, why not 5?
That actor right there at the end, he just really fucked things up for me. No, I mean, I don't know. Like, because the enjoyability of it the second time of realizing what's going on, it's just so in my face.
Yeah.
The second time that it kind of took me out. Because I remember that first time, I was just, oh, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What's about to happen? And then, the ending happens and you're just so, or at least I was.
Yeah.
I'm not like the rest of smart movie watchers that I guess probably by the end of the ferry on the first time realized that, oh, he's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for sure watching it the third time, like I don't know, it'll be a long time before I watch it a third time because I really want to get kind of that juice back. But now I really, like, I totally understand what's happening now. And there's some movies where that's just not really the case, I feel like. I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but if you really go back and watch it a second time.
Well, The Prestige.
The Prestige, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like...
Well, you got ruined with your first watch by reading the script first.
Yeah. I don't know. I really can't think of anything specifically. I'm just, the flame's kind of dead. Like, I truly get it. There's so many signs throughout the whole thing. You're just going to be rewatching it like, yeah, I fucking get it. Like, they're laughing at him. I don't know. It's just, I don't understand how somebody could just go back to back to back to back to rewatch this movie.
Yeah, you're picking up clues at that point.
You're just truly trying to pick up every clue you can.
Yeah.
So you can have something different to say.
I'm going to give it a 10 because I like the fact that when you watch it the first time and the second time, it's a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Because I think the first time sells you so much to the fact that the twist is set up well to where you can believe what Teddy Daniels is preaching.
Yeah.
I think they set it up very well. And the enjoyability, 5. It's a great movie to watch. It's always enjoyable. Every time you watch it, it's enjoyable.
That's a good movie.
Great movie.
He should have won an Oscar for this. Leo.
He should have won an Oscar for every damn movie he's in.
Amen, bro. Amen. He's only got one?
I think so.
The Revenant, man.
Yeah, which isn't even his best movie, I don't think.
Nah, it's a good movie.
Yeah, he got... What?
2016. Wait, what? Fuck Google.
He's been nominated 7 times. Yeah, Google blows, bro.
Wikipedia sucks too.
Yeah. 1, The Revenant. 1 best... Oh, The Revenant. Oh, he won best performance by an actor in a leading role. The Departed, but Oscar, though, I think it's just...
Yeah.
The Revenant. Yeah.
Damn.
Only 1. Crazy.
Crazy.
All right, what's your final thought on Shutter Island?
Would you rather live a monster or die a good man? I'd rather live, because if you're dead, you're just dead. So there's not much that you can do. So I'd rather live to live.
Well, he lived as a lobotomized man, just dead as himself.
I'd rather live as a monster.
I don't know if I could do it.
I don't know what
I don't know if I could handle it.
lobotomy entails.
You just
Do any of us?
Nope. I think you're just not. Yeah, I don't know. You're not yourself. You're just basically just.
Just don't go fucking with my brain.
Yeah. Don't shove a needle in my eye and start wiggling it around.
Yeah, whatever that option is, I don't want that option.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the demons.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
What are your final thoughts?
Oh, my final thought?
Yeah. What are your final thoughts? What are you thinking?
Scorsese.
You just gave it a 10 and a 5.
Yeah.
Scorsese, GOAT.
That's my final thought.
This was his first time, I feel like, going after like a Christopher Nolan type feel.
Yeah, getting it twisted.
Yeah.
Yeah, trippy
Marty.
All right, thank you guys for listening. We'll see y'all next week. Comment below your thoughts on Shutter Island. Let us know if you learned anything. Point out some clues that maybe we missed. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We're out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check,